Hello gorgeous people and welcome back to my channel. Yes, this week is another podcast. I am sorry, I cannot get in front of a camera right now. You do not want to see my face in front of a camera right now. I promise you that. You barely want to hear my voice. We are just over that, the nasal capacity I would call it, to actually be recording a podcast right now. Today's podcast is a little bit different in the sense that I'm in a wardrobe right now. I am coming to you from my spare bedroom wardrobe, which has been padded out with cushions and boxes, a kitchen chair, and a cup of lemon and ginger tea. Oh, and of course there's no light in here, so my ring light is plugged into an external charger, which is on my clothes shelf above my head. And you know what? I'm making it work, you know? You gotta make it work for you. You've got to make life conform so that you can make your dreams come true, and that is what I'm doing right now. So if you were privy to my previous podcast, episode 1, which came out last Thursday, which was super exciting to release, you guys, I'm not gonna lie to you, you might be wondering why you're not just recording it at your kitchen table like you did last week. And the truth of the matter is, we're in windy Welly, okay? We're in windy Wellington in New Zealand. It is winter and the wind speed is ripping the outside of our house apart. I'm not even kidding. It's so loud, so noisy, like this wind could wake you up in the middle of the night. So I just thought, I cannot record a podcast in this. I can't record a video because I look like death warmed up. So I'm gonna shut myself into a closet like Harry frickin' Potter under the stairs, and we'll go from there. So what's new? What's changed since I last had the privilege of coming to you into your life, wherever you are now, driving the car, taking a walk, whatever it is that you've decided to listen to this podcast whilst doing? Well, my dreams of not catching COVID and of isolating Ben in the other corner of the house did not work. My dreams were taken from me very promptly after recording my last podcast. I think within 24 hours I was done. That was me. I was testing positive. And I think in some ways what's worse with this COVID thing that I've had is Ben had a couple of symptoms for a couple of days before he tested positive, whereas I was testing positive and still didn't really have any symptoms. So I was lulled into this false sense of security. I was like, this bitch ain't taking me down. I'm gonna be fine. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I got super cocky. I was like, yeah, COVID ain't got shit on me. And no, oh my God, I have never been so ill. That's not true. I think I've been that ill once or twice in my life before, but I could barely breathe or open my eyes. I remember one morning, Ben brought me in a Lemsip, because he, by the way, is back to full frickin' health, having the time of his life. He can leave the house. I'm on my last day of quarantine today, but my symptoms are not gone. I'm still testing positive, and I don't think I'm going to be leaving quarantine tomorrow. I don't think that's something that's a smart decision for me. I don't think it's a smart decision for the rest of New Zealand, and I would rather keep my diseased self to myself. Also, after my first lot of false sense of security, thinking that all would be well, I then started to recover and recuperate on Saturday and Sunday, and then I woke up with an array of brand new symptoms on Monday morning, so sick, and just, to be honest, I was so annoyed. I was like, Benjamin, how dare you make me so ill, recover faster and better than me, and only get one lot of symptoms, not two. That's just not fair. It's simply not fair. Anyway, it's where we stand. We'll move forwards. So what have I done with this unspeakable amount of time? Well, some days, honestly, guys, I was too tired to even watch TV. I just had to lie there in the state that I was in. And today is the first day that, after back-to-backing Lemsips, I was like, I have to record this podcast. I have to get it out to you guys. And so here we are. However, I am a little bit nasally, so my apologies. In the last week, I have watched an unthinkable amount of TV. I also decided to restart Super Mario Odyssey on the Switch. That has been a source of of comfort and a source of enjoyment for the very, very few moments that I actually have a little thing called energy. Now, when I think about the drastic difference between how quick I healed versus how quick Ben has healed, my scientific mind is racing. I'm thinking, what is it that has caused this drastic difference? And I think it's just got to be gut health. I've decided that that's what it had to be. I was also slightly run down. I was a little bit on the edge. I was a little bit ill the week before I was exposed to COVID by the lovely Benjamin. And I think maybe I wasn't fully back to 100% when I was exposed to COVID. But I also think there is such a difference in the way that we've been affected. I think about the immune system and how much of the immune system lives in the gut. And also I was on antibiotics the week before I got COVID-19. So, my gut microbiome would have already taken a hit. It would have already been suffering because of those antibiotics, which, there's little I could have done about it. The antibiotics were something I needed. It was a very short course, no need to fret. But, we didn't stand in a great place. So I think going forwards, through being ill as well, oh my God, another thing, my appetite was so low. And I get that I was going nowhere and doing nothing, but I am talking through the floor. Unbelievably low appetite. Normally I can put away crazy food, and half a sandwich was enough for me. I was full, and I'm talking without breakfast. So, it really did a number on me. It really wore me out. And going forward, I'm definitely going to focus on gut health, because I cannot be taken down this hard by, something I've had 3 vaccinations for. 3. And I'm very grateful for vaccines. I am extremely pro-vaccine. I do think sometimes we forget how important vaccinations are, because a lot of the things we vaccinate don't exist anymore, but that is because of vaccinations. So in my case specifically, I am so grateful for vaccines because I was so ill, so I can't imagine how ill I would have been if I hadn't had that protection and that pre-preparation for COVID. So thank you so much to all of the doctors and researchers that put time, energy and effort into making vaccines so that we can actually escape these sorts of diseases and colds and flus with our lives and without too much of a negative impact. But there are a couple of things I think I'm going to integrate into my life more hardcore in the next couple of weeks. One of the things that seems to keep coming up on my phone and within research and within people who have managed to heal their gut is L-glutamine. Now, it's not something I've done before. I've always kind of believed that you can heal your gut with foods and reducing stress and all of that jazz. But it is something that when I do a little bit more research into, it seems to have benefits that, they aren't promising you the stars and the moon, but they have good scientific basis. L-glutamine is something that is already produced by your body, but sometimes when you are very ill, it's in depletion. And if you have an already disturbed gut, it might not be in the plentiful source that you would want it to be. So that's something I think I might try. Another thing I think I might try is ginger juice. Now, I hate ginger, absolutely hate it. I am drinking lemon and ginger tea, but that is different. People who can eat ginger, hats off to you. Don't know how you do it. Makes me feel nauseous. Ew. But has amazing anti-inflammatory responses, so I might give that a go as well. And then just in general, in my own personal belief system, I don't see the point of living without cheese. And dairy makes up so many different types of my favourite foods, so I don't think I could ever completely get rid of it, but I will try and reduce down just a little bit, because I know that too much dairy is not good for your gut. But yeah, that is just the current vibe I'm getting off of my body and what I think I might try and do in the future. One of the things that I think has really knocked me for 2 with this COVID as well is that in the last few days it has been so windy and you don't want to leave the house. Like you feel like the windows are going to blow out of the sockets. You honestly think they're going to leave your house. That is how windy it is. And there is no way that I want to take my sick self out for a walk in weather that's going to batter me to shit, you know? Who wants that? You want a warm hug and a blanket when you feel ill. You don't want extraordinarily high winds. And I think that it's made a massive difference because for the first part of my COVID, I definitely had the ability to go out for walks. Oh, and you guys, the best thing happened. So Ben's boss has 2 dogs, one of which is called Bertie. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen both of these gorgeous, gorgeous puppies. But Bertie, who is the newest to the clan, he came and stayed with us on one of the days because their family's in their immunity phase. They didn't really come near us. They just dropped off a few groceries and also dropped off the gorgeous Bertie. And we had all day with him. He is so gorgeous. And, you know, he made us feel so good. And whilst Ben's boss was dropping him off, so he's a cross between a King Charles and a poodle, and he is the cutest little black sheep that you can imagine. And he has the craziest hair, and he is so full of love, and he's just so gorgeous. But as he dropped him off, he said that apparently doctors used to prescribe King Charles dogs to sick patients when they had colds and flus and stuff because they were warm and they would sit on your lap comfortably and they would bring you comfort and boost your immunity and make you feel good. And it just made me giggle, and I just thought I'd share that with you guys. And you know what? It was great. He napped with me for like 3.5 hours on the sofa. This dog wanted a walk and he was done. And you know what? Me and Ben had our walk and we were also done. Ben tried to run up the beach, and it's a generous word for what this was. He took a few steps at a pace slightly faster than walking, and he was winded. He was like, I cannot, this is a man who can run 10k, absolutely fine. And yeah, anyway, moving on. It's just mad. It is mad. And I think another thing that irks me, it irritates me when people are like, oh, COVID is just basically a bad cold. Like, why are we putting our lives on hold? Well, Stephanie, because it's not a cold for everyone. If you're triple vaccinated and you're young and healthy with a good immune system and you are fortunate enough not to catch an extremely deathly strain or a strain that sits low in your airway tract. So we're talking, I can't remember, and I really should know, but you know, there's the really deathly strain of COVID and there's the less deathly strain of COVID. My mind fog is thick at the moment, please forgive me. But if you're lucky enough to have one that sits in the top of your airway, which will affect you less long term and less severely, then yeah, you might say that it's like a cold or a bad cold. But if you are someone with a health risk or asthma, or if you're part of the elderly community, COVID poses serious threats to your health. Serious threats to your health. And I think we need to just make sure that we're still not taking it too softly. It's very easy for people to just get fed up of taking it seriously and move forward. It is still a very serious thing that has killed thousands and has changed thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people's lives forever. And I think we just need to remember that going forward. I mean, I'd never caught COVID before. You know, we're in frickin' July 2022. And I thought I would make it out the other side of COVID without ever getting it. But I didn't. But I'm still very lucky. I'm very lucky that I caught a non-deathly strain. I'm very lucky I was triple vaxxed by the time it came knocking at my door. And I'm very lucky that I don't have people at risk in my household. I am lucky that I was able to contain the COVID that I caught. Ben did pass it to me, but you know, we're both young and healthy. And for that, I'm very thankful. So that's my two cents on the matter at hand. Also, in our time of isolation, me and Ben, I'll tell you a little fact about us in our pretty long relationship at this point. We're making our way forward to 5 years now at this point, and we have never been on a weekend away together. Can you believe that? Never been on a weekend away. And I think it's funny when you think about it, like in movies and in TV series and in Hollywood, you would think of a weekend away as something that is an early but big step in the relationship. But you know, everything is different for every person. And we met in uni, so we were already travelling big distances to see each other. And also, you know, money. When you're a uni student, you can't be going to 5-star hotels and ordering room service and going out to expensive dinners. And then after that, now that I think about it, like 3 of those years have been in bloody COVID. Like, where are my 20s going? They are disappearing down the frickin' drain, just while COVID keeps plodding along, which is unfortunate, but a price we have to pay. There we are. There is a Christmas market here in New Zealand, and if you're listening to this in the heat wave that is currently ongoing in the UK, you're probably thinking, why have you got a Christmas market going on in July? Well, because it's winter. So it's the one time over here that Christmas can be like Christmas at home. And there's supposed to be this amazing market with all these stalls and food and just this lovely town called Greytown, which I've heard has its own like microclimate. So it's less windy than Wellington, it's warmer, it's milder mannered. It is just something that I was very much looking forward to. And we rented out this tiny little cottage. You can barely call it a cottage. It's like a house in someone's garden, but it was covered in flowers and it just looked very cute, very picturesque. And really all we were getting, you know, the room for was the night. We intended to go to the market, eat more than we weighed ourselves, and drink lots of different wines from all the different wineries and just have an amazing time. Of course, we had to cancel that trip because we both have COVID. And unfortunately, us being our very ill selves, didn't jump on the cancellation of the booking immediately like we should have done, definitely beating ourselves up for that. And so we don't get the nights back unless she could rebook them. But we cancelled like the day before because we could barely, I'm not being funny, I could barely use the kettle. The brain fog with COVID is very thick. By some miracle, she managed to book one night, so we have a night in the bag, which is exciting, but all of the other weekends for July are booked for the Christmas market, which is unfortunate, but to be honest, I am not well enough to go to a Christmas market yet. Even doing this podcast right now, I'm starting to get a headache and feel extremely tired. I am going to sign off now, guys. That was a very quick update. I actually had loads more I wanted to talk about, but I think this podcast is going to have to come to an end because I need to go and take a freaking nap. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys so much. Thank you for supporting me through this time where I'm not in front of the camera. I am really sorry, but I look like a pasty ghost. You do not want me on your YouTube screen right now. But thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully I will see you next week, but again, you might hear from me next week. We'll see what happens, and have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.